I want to do some practice on the differences between the maps and the objects in JavaScript. They are very similar because they both map some keys to some values. So let me show you how it looks like. For example, if I have an object like, let's say, my car, and let's have some keys and values inside. For example, let's assign the brand of car to something like, let's say it's Nissan, and let's assign the model key to maybe not string but a number like 2023, and let's use another key. This time maybe we can use a number instead of a string. I don't know what it means, but just to illustrate, let's use 23 number as the key, and value would be something, some value here. Okay, so this is already an object. This is not a map because I will show how map is will look like as well. So this is object. First of all, if we try to see the keys of this object, so we can use the object prototype, and I can immediately see the built-in function to call the keys. So I'll pass my object as a parameter, and let's assign this to a variable. So these are my keys, right? So if I wanna see what those keys are, let's iterate over this my keys with for each maybe. So we can use a callback here with array function syntax. So what we can do is, let me use the curly braces format to be able to debug. I want to set to some variable here, so we can see how key look like by observing a value, right? So I can evaluate expression here. So let me debug. So now key is 23 and a is undefined, but if I go over this line, now a is assigned to 23. So the first key is 23, right? But what I see is a is 23, but as a string 20, not number. So the first feature of object is it has keys with only string type. Even if I use number format here, number type here, it is implicitly converted to a string by JavaScript. So this is the very first feature which will distinguish objects from maps. And then moving on, what else we can see? Like if I want to see, let me restart debugging here. So I see my car object here. So if I want to see the size of my object, what I can use is that size is not a function, so there is no such a built-in function. How about length? It's undefined, so because it assumes I'm trying to call a field or a key of the objects, right? So this might be the second difference. So for objects, if I want to see how many keys or entries it has, I can of course implement a counting algorithm, but there's no built-in function as size or length. Moving on, similarly, if I want to check quickly if my car has a specific key, like, I don't know, something, it can either return true or false, something. But I could not use this, right? Because has is again not a function that I can use to check if the object has that relevant key or not. I can just try to access to the relevant key, And if it does not return anything, then I can of course understand the key is not there. So these are the very first things, but when I call, actually when I iterate over the keys, what I realized is these are the keys that I have inside my object, right? But when I iterate, the first key that I had was 23. Right? It means actually I'm not sure about the order of the keys. So let's try something else. Like I already have these keys, but let's assign some other keys here. For example, my car. Let's add some other numbers like 45 will equal to some other value, I don't care, and let's add something else, this time a smaller number and something else. So I'm wondering about the order of the keys when I'm iterating over, because this will be another difference that we will notice between the objects and the keys. The maps. In the maps, the order of creation of the keys are preserved. But in objects, let's see how it acts. So I can start my debugging. And yeah, let's iterate over keys. Actually, I can already see, but I can a little bit modify this by printing on the console. But the first key now I see is 7. Second one is 23. Next one is 45. So the order is like 7, 23, 45. So it's not related to the order of creation, right? The first one was 23. Now I see it in the middle. And then I created 45. And then finally 7. But 7 is at the beginning. So we can already see that it is ordered from smallest to biggest for the numbers, even though they are converted to strings implicitly inside. When checking over the number format, we can see the order is from smallest to biggest. And then we will see the strings, I guess. Let's see. The next one is brand and then model. I guess first the numbers from smallest to biggest and then the strings. For the strings, I think the order is preserved based on their creation order, but somehow it's mixed up. So there is no guarantee for the order of creation of those keys. Let's note as order of creation is not preserved. So these are the very basic features of an object. So let's this time create a map here. So how can I initialize a map? Let's say this is my map. I will create a map. I could already see in the auto completion options. Let's use it. Now this is already a map, and then I can start mapping some keys by using the set function. But if I want to directly initialize it while creation, then I can use this in this way, starting creating the entries. The first entry will be, let's add some, maybe 3 entries. these will be the entries. So in each entry there will be a key and a value. So let's say the first key is brand, and the value is Toyota. Let's jump to second entry. Model is 2023. The last entry is from 23 to 34. I don't know what that means. Cool, we are ready. So this is our map. So first of all, let's restart the debug. I already have my map here. So yes, brand is mapped to Toyota, model is mapped to 2023, and 23 is mapped to 34. I can already see a size here, right? So this is the very basic thing that I can see here. So let's see the size. Yes, it's already there. Is it a function in the meantime? No. So it is a property. So I can just directly see the size of the map. This was something that I could not do on the object, right? Other than that, let's see the maps as well. So I can iterate over the keys, and actually not only the keys but also the values as well. So what I can do is I can pull the keys and the values for each entry on my map. All right, let's print on the console. Let's use a string interpolation, but each time I cannot find my backtick on my keyboard. Let me copy it from somewhere. Yes, I found somewhere here. Okay, so what I can use here is key is the key. Should be $sign, right? Now where is my $sign? It's too difficult on Japanese keyboard. Yes, found it. Okay, and it will be the key, and value is here. It will be the value. Let's restart the debug, and I should see all the keys and values on the console, right? Let's see. So brand model 23. So this time the order of creation is preserved. Let's do a test, right? We are testers, so let's do that. For example, let's delete this one and then recreate, and let's see if it goes to the very end of the entries. So my map, first delete model and then re-edit. Now what we expect is model should go to the end, right? Because when we delete, it will be brand 23, and then when we create, this will be the last one which was created inside the map. So this should be appearing at the last of the end, the last of the list. So rerun. Let's go to the console, and yes, model is at the very end of the list. Cool. What else? Order of creation is preserved. We could use the size property. What else? for the objects, we could not check if the key was there or not with the has built-in function, right? So we can check that as well. My map has tires key. It does not. Result is false. How about brand? It's true. So has size and has features are there. And let's eventually check the keys, because in the objects we said that we can have keys with only string type, right? How about the map? If I see the keys, I can see brand is string, but 23 is a number, right? It is not a string. And model is again a string. So 23 is not necessarily converted to a string type because in maps there's more flexibility to use any type of keys inside the maps. So these are the very basic differences between maps and objects. They are very similar because they both map some keys to the values, but there are different usage areas. For example, if we want to just directly use these kind of operations, and if we want to preserve the order of creation, and especially if we have to be careful about the memory usage, we can go with MyMap, because MyMap in the meantime utilizes the hashing while doing the indexing. So instead of using large indexes, it just takes the hash value and uses the memory much more efficiently.